So the main section of my chat today is going to be a few tips for making your streaming experience healthier and more comfortable so that you can do it over the long term without burning out like I did. Don't be like Tina. Don't go hard. Go too hard, you'll be in trouble. But it was actually, I got this t-shirt the other day and I was like, this is the perfect day to wear it. Suffer Squad. Because y'all don't know it, but literally every day I am suffering in some way. Because that's what it is. Life is a spooty. You never really get a vacation. But you learn to do things in a way that works for you and makes it more comfortable so that you can do what you want to do. But yeah, so these are mostly beginner tips. If you've been streaming for a while, you probably have already thought of this yourself or seen somebody else mention it. So don't be alarmed. Just consider it a good refresher. And if you're a newer streamer or you're thinking about streaming or you're finding that you're struggling in some way physically but you can't figure out why, think about these things. They might be either a reason why or something that might help. But yes, so my first tip is make sure you have good lighting. If you use a webcam or a face cam or however you set it up anyway, you've probably already considered this because you need good lighting for your camera to work. But if you don't use a camera, or if you really like playing if you really like playing horror games in the dark, this can be a problem. Despite what your grandparents may have told you, your vision won't get worse by watching or doing things in the dark. That's not how it works. But eye strain caused by bright screens in a dark room can cause headaches. Yeah, so make sure you have good lighting. It doesn't have to be expensive. You don't have to buy fancy studio lights to do it. You can do this fully just with desk lamps or stand lamps or windows. Like I have curtains open on both sides of me. But if you're in like your own little space, you could set up, good quality studio lighting that would be like perfect for you, or you could do a ring light. There's all different ways you can do it, but essentially you want to make sure the room you're in, it has enough ambient light that you're not straining to see, or like your eyes aren't like suffering between the light and the dark anyway. So you want to make sure that you've got that going for you. But you also want task lighting, just like you would if you were working on anything else. So that might mean a ring light in front of you, or something just pointing directly down on you so that the area you're in is bright enough both for your camera and for your eyes so that you can see well. Good lighting, really important. And if you wear glasses, you'll probably have to adjust your lighting a little bit too, just because it can cause weird reflections and all kinds of stuff. So you got to make sure you do that, or you'll end up like me with awful headaches all the time. You don't want that. All right, this one is another one that, I've had to think about, that I know a lot of people probably don't think as much about as they should. Make sure you have good seating and good posture. As gamers, we're all prone to either we'll get in and we'll be all great, and then 10 minutes in, we're all, Or if you're playing on a console, you grab your controller, flop out on the couch, and just kind of like, woo. Or like me, when you get competitive, you lean way forward and lean on your knees, and so bad for your back. As somebody with degenerative disc disease and arthritis, don't do that. If your spine is healthy, you want to keep it healthy. So invest in good seating. I know, especially as streamers, we're all like desperate for those fancy ass like gaming chairs that look like race car seats. Most of those are actually, they'll feel comfortable, but they're actually over the long term not very good, especially for what you're paying for them. Like some of them are $400 or $500. They're not worth that price for if you're going to spend hours a day in them every day on what will happen to your back. You're much better off spending $200 getting a really good quality office chair that's ergonomic, possibly buying, special lumbar pillow, shoulder support, something to tilt your hips so that you're sitting in a much better position. It's especially when you're younger and you're healthy, you don't realize that over the long term, that kind of damage builds up and you won't feel it until it's already too late. So you're better off like spending time looking at that specifically to make sure that you stay healthy. It is sitting for long periods is super unhealthy, super bad for us. We're not meant to do that. And then throwing in a really bad chair, not helpful at all for that. Yeah, pillows and padding adjusted to what you need. You can buy like the Obus form or Obus form, like backrests or, you know, hip shifters that will help align things in a more healthy way. If you're playing with a console, it's a little bit harder because most of us either sit on our couch or our bed or whatever. If you have the space, buying a good quality chair that will keep you sitting in a comfortable, healthy position is best. If you can't, sit upright. Try to keep your feet on the floor as much as you can. Try not to lean forward. Make sure your shoulders are back, that you're not straining your necks and in a weird spot. Basically, just be mindful of how you're positioning your body. And if you're finding that you are getting like hip soreness, lower back soreness, neck soreness, it's worth taking the time to see a physiotherapist maybe 2 or 3 times, just even to get some exercises, stretches, and positioning advice so that you can keep your body functioning mechanically in the way that you want it to. Because the longer time you go with poor posture and whatnot, the worse it's going to be for you when you get older. And yeah, you don't want to be like me. I promise you, it is not a good time. Honestly, my chair I got from Walmart because I didn't have really the money or the time to go 2 hours away to find another one. It wasn't fantastic, but it was okay. Unfortunately, I wore the padding in the seat out really quickly because I am in it for 6 to 8 hours some days, most days of the week. So what I did was I ended up buying a special shaped seat pillow thing that's like shaped so that it sits your hips and your legs a little bit more to what they're supposed to be. And it's not perfect, but it's better than it was. And the hope is that I will at some point be able to replace it with a better one. I've got a really fancy one, like lower back designed chair that's on my Amazon wish list. It's like, I don't know, $350 or $400, but it looks like it would be so good for me. So excited. Spinal surgery a few times, not because of gaming. It sucks. I have not reached that point yet. I may not end up ever needing like a discectomy or you know, a fusion, but the pain is real. The pain is really real. I'm thinking about sitting on stability balls sometimes when you play. Yes, sitting on stability balls is supposed to be really good for you, especially if you like keep moving, because it keeps everything moving. If doing that doesn't cause you immediate pain and you can handle doing it for a longer period of time, absolutely, that's a great idea. Give it a try. If you can manage I know some streamers use standing desks. I don't know how they can go for, you know, 4, 5, 6 hours, but if you can do that, that's way, way better. Like, get one of those retail mats that like takes the impact out from standing for long periods and stand your whole stream. So much better for you than sitting, like 100%. But yeah, so just be aware of your posture. You know, maybe look up some diagrams of how you should be sitting. Make sure your computer setup is good and that your chair is good. The seating is the most important thing. Number 3, drink water. I know that drinking other things on stream can be popular. Maybe it's your G Fuel. Maybe you do food stuff, so you drink smoothies. Maybe you like to do drinking streams. That's an entirely different issue. Totally different topic. But you need to make sure you're still drinking water before you stream, while you stream, after you stream. The medication I take gives me dry mouth really bad, so I don't have a choice. I have to keep drinking. I know I'm drinking coffee right now. That's okay. After I'm done my coffee, I move to water. But yes, being dehydrated makes you tired. It makes you grumpy. You can't talk as well because your mouth is dry. Make sure you're drinking enough water. There is a bot. Yes, coffee is water-based, and despite popular belief, it does not dehydrate you because there's far more water in it than the small amount of caffeine that would do that. It takes a lot more, but it's still plain water, if you can drink it, is better. Yeah, pretty much anything that doesn't have an excessive amount of sugar or caffeine or other additives is a good option. But a lot of those, it really comes down to more the calorie content. Like, you can drink Diet Pop and it won't dehydrate you, but you know, it's full of aspartame or other additives, you know, color, all that kind of stuff. Basically, get as close to natural as you can. Just, yeah, sparkling water. Sparkling water is fine. Drink something throughout the entirety of your stream. Water is best, but there are definitely other options that are good. Especially if you're doing a drinking stream, especially if you're doing a long drinking stream, like 4+ hours, drink water as well. If you're doing shots, only drink water in between the shots. If you're drinking, say, beer, have like a coffee mug's worth of water and drink that in between. Just make sure that you're drinking something that isn't alcohol. Yeah, it's just the sugar. When it comes to like non-water choices, it's really just the sugar content and whatever weird flavorings or colorings are in it. And that's totally a personal thing. You know, I will never judge somebody for choosing to drink what they want. I drink more Coke than I should, both regular and diet, or not diet, zero. I am working on it, but it still happens. So like, but a lot of people forget to drink water, just period. So I figure it's a good reminder. There is a bot, like I guess hydration bot, that some people use. I've seen it. The amount it gives you isn't really accurate, like at all for most people, but it's still a good reminder. So like, I have my water bottle. It's a 1 liter because I'm Canadian, and it's got the markings. So I don't do this, but I know some people do. They'll mark off every like 2 and say each time they drink that much, or that kind of thing, to get them, make sure they get enough. Basically, every person needs a different amount of fluid each day. The whole 8 cups a day is not in any way accurate to most people. You just have to kind of see what works best for you. Make sure you're going to the bathroom enough. You're not feeling thirsty. And then you should be good. This is just my reminder to you. Make sure you drink water or other things. Also, incidentally, too much sugar and too much caffeine can cause headaches, which goes hand in hand with the have good lighting. So if you drink too much of that and you find you're getting headaches, that could be it. Maybe step back a little bit, add more water instead, and see if that helps. Point number 4, make sure you pay attention to your body when you're trying to figure out how long you should stream for and how often you should stream. This is where you're going to get a ton of advice from a ton of different people. And realistically, yes, some of it is going to work the best for the majority of people, but it won't always work for everyone. And that's why you kind of have to see what works best for you. Like, for example, me. I know that by around the 3 hour mark, my pain has increased. My fatigue is increasing. I'm finding I'm able to engage less with my chat and whatnot. So for me, 3 hours is about the max for most streams that I can manage before I'm like, I have to stop. Occasionally, I can pull out longer. Like last week, I was so into Resident Evil, I just wanted to keep going, so I played it until I finished it, which ended up being about 5 hours. But at the end of that, I was toast. My back hurt really bad. I was exhausted. I hadn't eaten because silly me, didn't think I was going to go that long. So I was like, done for the day. Dropping some knowledge. Yes, I'm trying. Hey, Crimson Sorcerer, thank you so much for stopping in. But yes, so I know for me, personally, 3 hours is about as long as I'm going to go for most of my streams. Other folks, you know, it might be different. But the best way to figure it out, essentially, is do a few streams that you would the time you want to go. And then make note if there's a point where you start to notice that you're having trouble staying switched on. Maybe you're engaging a little less with the chat. Maybe you're talking a little bit less. Figure out what that point is for you. And if it stays about the same for 2 or 3 streams, maybe try to stop your stream at around that point or just before, so that you don't lose followers lose viewers at the end of your stream, which can happen if you slowly start to go, you know, down towards fatigue. I know people will tell you, you have to stream for at least 5 hours. You have to stream for at least 8 hours. You have to do this. No, you need to do what is right for your body so that you can do this over the long term. If you burn out streaming too long and too often, you're not helping yourself grow and you're not helping anybody else. And really, it could potentially end your streaming career if you burn out bad enough. Like, I almost quit because I was just so burnt out. Luckily, I took some time off and some time away and sorted my shit out, and I'm good now. But if you go too long, you'll start to suffer. That's the problem, is every coach, every person giving advice will tell you a different number. I'm more of the opinion you need to find what works best for you. Look at those numbers. Look at what the advice they're giving. Try it. See what works. See what doesn't. Don't discount it right away, but also don't do things just because somebody else said to do it, right? Yes. So when it comes to scheduling, it's a similar sort of thing. I started at 2 streams. And at first, I was 0 to 1. Everybody starts at 0 to 1 unless you have a huge audience already somewhere else. Joined Monstrosities, bumped right up. I stayed at 2 for a little bit, and then I decided to go up to 4, 2 at night, 2 in the morning. And at first it was fine. I was a little tired on my morning days because I'd streamed the night before, but it was okay. But over the course of the month, it got to, like, because I was doing so much that month that it was so much. I was exhausted. I burned out. I got too caught up in the numbers, and like I got really depressed and anxious, and it was just awful. So when I took my hiatus, a couple months off basically. I had a couple sporadic ones where I was trying to see if my internet would work, and then it didn't. And then when we finally switched it and I was making plans to come back, I'm like, I'm going back to 2, full stop. See how I feel. So I did 2 for about a month, almost a month. But I was like, I really want to stream more. But unlike last time where I split it during different times of day and had so many, I just added 1 at the same time as my other ones, just on a different day. And so far, cross my fingers, knocking on wood, so far so good on that front. So right now we're at 3. I don't intend on adding any more for a while. I might one day, depending on how things go, but for the moment, we're going to stay at 3. Again, I might shift to another evening stream at some point, but for the moment, no. Because again, I'm trying to avoid burning out. I'm trying to avoid getting myself wrapped up in numbers that, in the long term don't matter. Daily numbers don't matter. It's long-term trends that matter. So to keep myself, separated from that, I'm staying at 3. But for every person, it's going to be different. So, it might, somebody gives advice, says stream 5 days a week. Well, if you can, try, see how you feel. If you're exhausted, if you're just not wanting to stream, you might be doing it too much. Take 1 off. Say you do Monday to Friday, and on Wednesday you're just freaking zonked. But then, you might be okay on Friday. Well, maybe take out the Wednesday so you get 1 day off in between. So you get a couple streams, a day to rest, support, whatever, and then 2 more. That might work for you too. If, like me, maybe you're chronically ill, maybe you don't have a lot of energy or whatnot, start it with just 1 or 2. If it's a schedule and you're always there at that time, you'll still grow, you'll still get an audience. It will be a little slower, but as long as it's like you are live at 3 p.m. Eastern every Wednesday, over time, you'll get the people that will come. So even 1 stream a week that is scheduled is better than doing it 5 or 6 or 7 days a week to nobody. So just listen. This is I guess the big overarching point for this one is listen to your body and don't overdo it. Because if you want to do this for the long term, you need the stamina to keep going. If you push too hard too fast, you'll run out of stamina and you'll crash. You might burn out, and that's just no good, not a good time. But yeah, so my last point, so we can wrap this up and then get to gaming, because I'm so excited to start this one. Take breaks. This can mean different things to different people, but I mean this basically 2 different ways. Take breaks while you're streaming and take breaks from streaming. Take breaks while you're streaming. This one is a bit contentious because a lot of people, especially folks that haven't needed to think about their health, a lot of times don't want to take breaks, even just to like run to the bathroom, because they're like, oh no, people will leave. Yeah, occasionally somebody will probably go, oh, okay, I don't want to watch this anymore, blah, and they'll leave. But if you make taking breaks a normal part of your stream routine, your stream, like whole stream setup, people who actually enjoy your streams won't leave. Or if they do, they'll come back because they know that you'll be back. It's better to take breaks as you need them so that you can stay healthier and stay more comfortable than to force yourself to go for 5 hours without moving from your chair and end up in pain and like cramped and exhausted because you didn't take 5 minutes to stretch and get another drink of water, go to the bathroom. So for me, I usually take breaks every hour and 15 minutes or so, because that's the time I've figured out works the best for me, because after about an hour and 15, I need to get up and stretch and actually move my body around. Otherwise, my hips start to seize up, my back starts to hurt, I get stiff, I tend to start going, ugh. And it's not a good time. It's really, really not. So that's how I do it. A lot of other streamers will just kind of do it on an as needed basis. If you're streaming for like 5 hours, taking a break at the like 2.5 to 3 hour mark so that you can take 5 minutes, stretch, get a snack, get more water, go to the bathroom is a really good idea. Even if you don't necessarily feel like you need it, just to like, move your arms around because we get stiff, shift your back and your ribs, take a few deep breaths because you might be slouching too much. Pretty much just make your body do things that you haven't been doing because you're sitting in your chair. It's basically it. And yes, not going to the bathroom when you need to is a really bad idea. So even if you don't want to take any other breaks, make sure if you have to go to the bathroom that you do it. Don't, because if you don't, you could end up with horrible cramps, you could get an infection. It's a bad time, a really bad time. So just take your breaks. It's okay. I promise your fans, your real fans won't leave. Okay, and so the second type of break, taking breaks from streaming. What I mean is make sure you have days off and make sure you're not afraid to take like a vacation, so to speak. So, don't stream every single day. That's just a bad idea all around. So, stream 5 days a week and have 2 days off. Position them however you want, but have those days so that you can relax, do your own thing, do your own gaming, hang out on other people's streams, whatever. But also, if there's a holiday coming, if you've got friends visiting, don't be afraid to take an actual streaming holiday. If you set it in advance, you mark, this is when I'm going to be gone, this is when I'm going to be back, and you keep your followers in the loop, you won't really lose much, if anything. It might be a little bit slow if it's a longer one, like I was gone for 2 months. So it took me a few streams to kind of get momentum going again. But still, when you come back and you get back to what you were, people will come back. It's really not as bad or as stream killing as you think it might be. Like I've seen streamers that are afraid to take time off to, spend Christmas with their family, or, they don't want their friends to come up for the weekend because, they'll have, I need to stream. Your real life needs to be at least as much a priority as your streaming, like at least. If your entire life is wrapped up in streaming, it won't take long for it to go really, really sideways. You're going to have bad mental health. You're going to have bad physical health. It's not a good time. Make sure you take time off so that you can pursue your own interests, spend time with your family and your friends, do your own gaming. Like, do you know how long it went for me to do like almost any gaming at all on my own that wasn't directly related to streaming or YouTube? It was ages. And I was exhausted. I'm like, I have these games I want to play. They're not good for streaming, but I want to play them, but I have no time because I'm so busy. So I was like, whoa, I need to have at least one game that I'm playing on my own so that I can pursue my hobby without having to be switched on. Because being switched on all the time is exhausting. Like, you don't realize it until you've actually gotten into the real, like, depth of streaming and how much energy it takes to be, a happy, energetic entertainer, So, without those breaks where you don't have to be switched on, you can just do your own thing, play the games you love playing, but don't work well on stream. So important. So good for you. Oh my goodness. If you would like more spoony health wisdom and, hey, how can I make streaming not kill me in the long term? Always feel free. Ask questions on Twitter, ask on Discord, ask during streams. I will always do my best to answer you. If I can't answer you at the time, I will tell you so, and I'll do research because I have no problems reading up on this stuff, because 9 times out of 10 when someone asks me a question, it's something that I want to know too. So if I don't have the answer, I'm like, oh, I need to know that. I had never thought of that. And so I dive into Google and I go find stuff. So please feel free to ask questions anywhere, anytime. I will do my best.